So this is the thesis video. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be going over how any fund or project can raise capital in the most efficient manner, regardless of deal type or market condition. A quick overview to begin. We'll be going over our track record and pedigree. Subsequently, we'll be going over the 5 steps any fund or project can take to raise capital, debt or equity in the fastest manner possible, regardless of market condition. Lastly, we'll go over our execution process and our offer. So Keith Smith from Wayne Capital Partners, we're helping them raise $500 million for their flagship fund, Wayne Fund 2. Some highlights were meetings with Lazard, large institutional players, in talks with UBS, Draper University, a large endowment fund. These are some highlights, and overall there's been about $30 million in interested capital, which is going through due diligence at the time. So Brandon Schwab from Boutique Senior Living Fund, within 30 days of engagement, we got them introduced to a family office that had interested capital of $300 to $500 million, and that's going through due diligence currently, as well as meetings with Crescent Capital, which is a large player. So going over our thesis, which is solving for investor fund alignment with the guiding principle of signed term sheets or subdocs in the shortest amount of time possible. So there's essentially 5 steps any fund or project raising capital can take to do so. The first being investor segment, the second, which is messaging, the third, channel, the fourth, presentation, and lastly, the fifth, investor due diligence. So step 1, which is investor segment, when we first onboard you and figure out exactly what your company, fund, or project does and what type of capital it needs, we'll debrief with our team and figure out the perfect type of investor for your capital needs, whether this be family offices, large institutions, high net worth individuals, or accredited retail. We'll then go out to our network and contact individuals who we believe have the appetite of investment for your offering. And lastly, we'll start our outreach campaigns with the investors that we curated in the first step when we found what type of investor fit your investment offering. Step 2 is messaging. We'll go over what type of messaging suits the investor we're reaching out to, and we'll do this internally and relay anything that we find works best for your fund to you. We'll also go over the deck and any other materials that you have, the messaging portion of it, to ensure everything is up to par for investors that we're reaching out to and contacting. So step 3 is the channel, which is a direct outreach to these investors, as well as us going to our network and finding suitable investors for your fund, those of which we've worked previously, as well as those who've given us their mandate but haven't had a vehicle to employ their funds yet. So long as there's a connection between your offering and their appetite, those are people you'll get on the phone with immediately. So step 4 is presentation. This is where we'll review your presentation materials, do an audit of it internally, and ensure everything is ready to go for the investor meetings and the investor outreach. We'll also have our team review any other necessary materials and have everything ready to go to send to these investors when we contact them. And the last step for our thesis, which is solving for investor fund alignment, is investor due diligence. This is where your team will go through that due diligence period and figure out what the best types of capital and requirements and terms are for your fund. So a quick summary of what we went over in the last 5 steps, which is for our thesis, solving for investor fund alignment. Step 1, which is investor segment, 2, which is messaging, 3, channel, 4, presentation, and lastly 5, investor due diligence. So a few alternatives you have rather than going with a firm like ours. The first 2 are internal raising and bootstrapping, both of which are time consuming and costly if you go for the bootstrapping. The last one is a placement agent or an investment bank, which will do similar work to ours, though they're restrained by their network, where we have the network and we do outreach to investors who may not be in the immediate network of ourself or yourself. Another difference with a placement agent or an investment bank is that they charge quite high retainers and very high engagement fees, which is something you'll see quite a contrast to our services. So here's a snippet of what our offer could look like for your firm, fund, or project that you're working on to raise this capital. So some next steps of where you are in the timeline. The immediate next step would be a discovery call with one of our team members. They'll go over a solution that works for your firm, fund, or project that you're raising capital for. After that, we have your team discuss the proposal that we sent, come back with any questions, and we can iron those out in the following call. We then have an onboarding call, campaign launch, and campaign optimization throughout our engagement. Thank you very much for watching. We look forward to a successful engagement. Cheers.